Hello, Jack Cavendish here. Wanted to take a few moments to speak with you about something I'm quite passionate about. Lurking fears. If you love Cthulhu and Cairo and want to feel the same dread, terror, and occasional triumph, make sure to check out Lurking Fears when you head out to your next gaming convention. With a wonderful group of demented and wildly gifted storytellers, Lurking Fears is able to weave tales that will haunt your dreams and steal your sanity, which is something I know all too well. While specializing in Call of Cthulhu, Lurking Fears also runs a host of games from a variety of other systems, so there's literally an adventure for your every taste and style. They're committed to running heavy RPG adventures, which are driven by the narrative and, of course, by the player's choices. So do check out their Facebook page and make sure you follow them to find out which gaming conventions they will be at next. Trust me, you will not be disappointed. Well, it looks as if Faye is jumping headlong into yet another nightmare scenario. And if I know anything about this keeper Raz, it's that we're likely facing hell on a horse with us under hoof. So I'd best load my weapons and head over to lend a gun, or two, just to keep the odds even.
This episode is sponsored by our Patreon subscribers. Thank you so much for your continued support. If you're not a member yet, you can join our Patreon for as low as $1 per month to support the cast and crew of the Bardic College. Unlock bonus content featuring your favorite players, get exclusive access to shows you can't find anywhere else, and even get a chance to have Raz run a game of your choice. Visit us online at patreon.com/thebardic-college. You're listening to a 7th edition Call of Cthulhu podcast titled Cthulhu in Cairo, brought to you by the Bardic College. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe to the show to receive notifications as our future episodes release. You can visit us on Facebook at the Bardic College. Viewer discretion is advised.
Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Cthulhu in Cairo, brought to you by the Bardic College. I'm Raz, and we were originally supposed to be joined with guys and girls, but the way it ended up, we had the guys, and now we have the ladies. So, ladies, welcome back. How's everybody doing tonight? Catherine?
You know, I'm doing great. I got to listen to an episode of the Bardic College as it was recording, and now I get to take center stage. And by that, I mean probably not talk too much, because I'm traumatized after the events of the last episode that I was in.
Right. There's just 911. Catherine, that was Catherine Ross. I'm Catherine Ross. I have the... Oh, hello, Catherine. I mean, basically, you have your own...
I'm panicking again. I have my own designated, self-help hotline.
Right. But yes, you know what? One of the magical moments of that was when you very, very smartly, and the way you did it was, I go upstairs. I'm thinking you're going to abandon her, and then you're like, I come back down with a pad of paper and a pen. I was like, oh, that's so nice. Of course, then Ella hits you with all the shot, and you're like, I should just have stayed upstairs. But that's okay.
Listen, I handled it very mature. I threw the notebook at her and said never again.
Right. This is the last time. Speaking of Ella, how are you? Okay, how's everything going?
You know, Keeper, this was a turning point in Ella's character. This is I'm not going to give an F anymore about what these people think of me kind of a turn. So we'll see what that comes out to be later on.
Yeah, I'm wow. Okay. I'm already feeling, that's great. Feeling the love. Ella's been on a fairly short leash as it is, it feels, but you're saying you're going to just let that leash right to the ground. You're just going to free rein. I like that.
Yep.
Should be fascinating.
Full freak
and
now.
Full freak. Yes. And speaking of someone who has been beaten by a freak, chased by another, and had one for a father, let's talk to Faye Dawson, who's played by Mel. How are you tonight, Mel?
I'm doing well. Listeners, if Faye sounds a little bit more raspy than usual tonight, the pestilence has entered my home. I have contracted coronavirus. So this is what we're dealing with, but I'm okay. I'm on the mend. I'm not really excited to find out what is in my father's creepy magic basement further. I wasn't here last time that we were downstairs, so a lot of stuff happens that I'm probably about to find out about, and whatever Ella did. So yeah, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, we'll try to unpack some of it. Now, listeners, just so you're aware, some of this was already related off mic, just so that we could save time and you didn't have to listen to the same re-encounting of it from square one. So we didn't want to have. I mean, normally if a player misses something, we try to do it if it's organic. But this was such a big event; it had a lot of pieces, and Ella had to do a lot of ad-libbing to make that sort of all come into the notes that I gave her. So to repeat it would be really difficult. So what we did was we gave a transcript of it, the way we had envisioned it, to Faye. Faye now knows. So what I thought we would do to save a little bit of time, let the girls move on from this event, is to just be upstairs in the library or wherever Faye feels she'd be waiting, and the girls can kind of go from there. And she's aware of what's been seen. Like now, she's already been filled in. So Faye, would you be in the library? Would you be in the kitchen? Would you be near a bar? I don't know what your normal when you're getting really good news. Where do you like to stay?
When I'm getting really good news, I would like to be out of the house. No, I'm kidding. I'll be up in the library, and I wanted to search through my father's journals anyway, for different things. So I'm just trying to find, his journals, his ledgers, just things, especially things that are pertaining to Egypt.
All right.
So I'm upstairs, just kind of cycling through stuff.
Okay, so we'll work with that. The as we had said when we asked specific questions in between sessions about what you may or may not find, everything that has to deal with Mexico, with the events when you were a young teenager, the stuff that would have been for our listeners found in the solo adventures that we did, those journals are not here. They're missing. Egypt, the only Egyptology books that you are able to locate, or things that may have some rough notes in them, are archaeological in scope, not occult. Very, very little occult references appear anywhere in this library. Most of this is if somebody from the university, if a friend had stopped by, this would be the room that if he was to entertain in, there'd be nothing that they could fall upon with eyes, with suspicious eyes. So whatever's in this room tends to be more academic than esoteric. Okay? Ella, you I'm sure Catherine is the one stomping in, and you fall in behind her. So the two of you are here, and this conversation's been going back and forth, and you've probably been upstairs for about 20 minutes now, and Catherine walks out, you follow her or whatever, but Faye, you're aware of some of the visions they've told you about. All right. So girls, Ella, I don't know if there's any last minute thoughts you wanted to add to any of that. Feel free to do that now. I just didn't want to have to repeat the whole thing for the listener again. Yeah.
No, I completely understand. Basically, listener, long and short, it was creepy and I hated it. Yeah, that's it's pretty
Not
much
unusual
where we're at.
cat behavior. Yes.
No, I was very in character. Method acting. There we go. And yeah, she's poured herself a stiff drink and is not talking to anyone.
All right.
Ella's kind of waiting for Faye to kind of lead her through this because she knows she pried. She pried and opened up a box that maybe should not have been opened. And after talking about it, she's kind of waiting with bated breath to see what Faye thinks about it, or if anything makes sense to her. So 3 women standing in a room not talking.
Never happens.
Catherine will open it up.
Okay.
Well, this is uncomfortable. Don't we all feel better now?
Are you being sarcastic? Because I sure as hell don't feel better now.
You ran out of the room crying, and we've come upstairs after half an hour and, dumped this in your lap. So, yes, I'm being fully sarcastic. More bourbon?
Yeah, and I'll hold my glass out. So, this is all insane. My mother is not buried where she's supposed to be buried. She's not even going to think about where she is right now. But, yeah, this is insane.
Indeed. Listen, I don't know if it was magics that I could not unsolve or pierce through a veil of sorts that they've already enacted upon the object itself, but the images never fully came into focus for me, and from Catherine's notes that she so generously took for me, it sounds like a lot of this could be misconstrued. It's more perhaps metaphorical than physically real. The tentacle baby, I'm not entirely sure we should be focusing on that just now. But the shadow that keeps appearing over you, that is what concerns me more.
Yeah, I'm also a little bit concerned about that. What is the shadow?
Well, forgive me if I'm taking a leap here, but I believe during our brief conversations about Aveline that she was sent to find you, Faye. Is that correct?
Yeah, she was.
And she was what, trying to protect you?
She never got too deep into it, but from what I understood, the club had a special interest in me.
Did she ever say why?
No, she never. I mean, forgive me if I'm misremembering because it has
No.
been a while, but no, she never went too into it. She only said that the club was interested and she left it at that. And I never asked John about it either.
Well, if her original design was to safeguard you from a danger that maybe even she was not fully aware of, the shadow might be putting you in positions that perhaps are causing more danger or harm to yourself than even you realize. Like, considering the amount of accidents you've been in and situations where you've almost died, it could be related somehow to this or the vision that I foresaw.
Didn't Crowley, doesn't he want you for his bride or something? Isn't your sister, wasn't your half-sister some sort of, sacrificial, lamb baby? I don't know. This is... Are we all forgetting that all this crazy stuff happened?
No,
Right.
no, I can't forget it. I mean, Catherine, maybe your new collection through the club, maybe you might be able to ask.
I can go ask. I kind of wanted to go there anyway. They put in an order for, fancy medical supplies. I want to go look at sutures and go shopping.
Oh, that's lovely. Ella, I actually, maybe you might have an answer to this. Did I ever tell you about what happened when I was 14 and I went to Mexico with my father on one of his digs?
I believe that Keeper, quote, correct me if I'm wrong on this, but in Nepal, when she touched the wall, she saw the worm and something from Faye's past. I thought I saw a young girl in a jungle, and I didn't press the matter because it seemed both of you were spooked, but no, you did not go into any detail regarding this adventure.
When I was 14, I went with my father to Mexico to go on one of his archaeological digs. And a few days into the hike to get to the site, we stumbled upon this beautiful cave. And it went down and it was this cavern, and there was a lake in there, an underground lake. And the team decided to spend a few days just digging around in there because we kept finding things. And in there was a drum, amongst other things. I can't remember off the top of my head. It's been so long, but I'll never forget the drum because I kept hearing it. And when I would go to sleep at night and I would try to leave my tent, I was transported into a different, I don't know whether it was a different time, a different realm or whatever. It was the same place, but my father wasn't there. Everyone else on the dig wasn't there. It was just me. And eventually I saw other people, and there were terrible things. There were sacrifices that were going on, and I wasn't supposed to be there. And I still to this day don't know how I was there. And I blocked it out for so long. And now I'm wondering if this has something to do with everything that's going on, this shadow that's on me. Do you know anything about reflective pools or portals to a different place or anything like that? I don't know. I feel crazy, but also I'm sorry if this doesn't make any sense. It has been so
No.
long since then, so I'm just trying to piece together in my head, but
No, you've nailed a lot of it, Ella. The thing that of in the vision that was confusing to you is, especially as you plod through some of the thoughts in your head, the drums were being played when she was an infant. The drums, these ancient looking drums, in your vision, she was young. She was not 14. She was much, 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 much younger.
Yeah, the first piece of it says Richard playing drums, and her mother goes into the circle, black ooze. But that's the first mention of drums, and I'm trying to find a second one. if there was one.
Let me look. I don't think so.
Yeah, the only one that I know of was that one.
But that's before her mother was ill in the vision, correct?
That was Nora going into the circle. Like,
Correct.
Yeah, like Faye was. In my mind, it looked like Faye hadn't even been born yet. Like the way that the order of it was.
So Faye, that's that's what she says to you. She says, and Catherine with her notebook is confirming all this, right? Catherine's like, that's the way she related this. If they're chronological, that would have been when your mother went into the circle and then appeared to be frightened and almost looked as if she was regretting the choice. What choice that was, or what you were seeing, is Ella's gift is a gift, but like many medium type things, sometimes it could be the simplest. It could be one little thing in a spew of just chaos that's really important, or it could be a lot of things and one thing just trips it up and doesn't make it right. It's like dream states. You're thinking about Kansas, so you dream about a flat iron pan because the pan's hot and flat, and that reminds you of Kansas. Sometimes you just don't know how to put it all together. So just keep that in mind with these visions. Her role wasn't strong, but in Cthulhu, we know that you do get some things even if you don't succeed, as long as you don't crit fail.
Mm-hmm.
But these could be out of sequence. They could be mishmashes of memories.
Well, if the drums were playing, if my dad was playing the drums, and this was before I was born, there's no way, because unless there's another set of drums, because that was the first time that I thought that he saw them.
Correct. Everything and everything that came out of that trip to Mexico and Mesoamerica, those drums didn't enter your life until you were 14.
Yeah.
And yet, now, if Ella was picking up, again, multiple images from different things, maybe she's getting that confused. That could just be a false read. But there's other things in there that she's, like she said, what's really concerning her is one thing kept popping up and over again, and that was the shadows. You were in shadow when Rosalina was in light.
Yeah, and it's because the whole thing, because when Crowley was talking to me about just how I came to be, I was cosmically chosen, and then that's how it, I'm trying to think, how did he word it? I am like, it is not, COVID brain is real.
Oh yeah, COVID brain is very real.
Yeah, because what did Crowley say about me? That I was...
There was a lot.
Yeah, I'm talking about when I was born.
Well, he drew allusions to the fact that there was more to your birth than just a simple birth. That there had been things that had occurred that pieced your birth to mean something, to be something special. Now, if Ella saw part of that in that ritual, if there was part of that in the fact that this shadow was looming over you, and the inky blackness around your mom, I think really what's going to end up happening with the vision is, as we go forward, bits and pieces that were truth will start to make sense, and they'll connect. There was like 15 minutes of clues in there. There was a shit ton she got a lot of information because the box had so much to it. It had been part of such a powerful ritual. But again, I think it's at this point to try to piece what's the right answer and what's wrong out of it. It could take you 3 shows to figure that out. I think the real thing you want to do, you have to decide is, that you're going to you need to get back to the team soon. You only have a limited amount of time in New York. What are you doing with the sarcophagus? If you're not doing anything, are you leaving it there? That's fine. It's not going anywhere. I mean, it's your home. It's been here. Are you looking to get more information about why Aveline had been sent after you from the Cobalt Club? Was that something that, would be of interest to you? That's a Catherine thing. Did you want to go to the Theosophical Society of Brooklyn? I mean, I would say that to spend too much time in the dream sequence or in the vision quest is just going to lead you into more questions than answers at this point. It's just too much.
Yeah, it's all right. Then I think that we'll leave the sarcophagus as is, because it's been down here for this long and I didn't even know about it, and I grew up here.
Right.
So just kind of reset the traps, just make sure. Maybe do like just a sweep downstairs if like there's anything, like a journal that my father had like around when I was born, but he probably wouldn't write anything down, so I'm not even going to do that. But just kind of reset everything, and I think just going to the Cobalt Club, having Catherine go to the Cobalt Club and ask about, why they were keeping an eye on me, especially because this is the New York chapter. I don't think it's a good idea for me to go to the Theosophical Society. I'm just scared. Just in case any word gets back to Mueller that I was back here.
All right. The rest of the night, I guess, would go by fairly uneventful. Are you turning off the gas lamps downstairs? Are you protecting that area? I mean, those have been on for years, but, is it something you would want to leave on while you're gone? I mean, it happened that, he never expected that he was going to not be able to bring you home in a few days from Italy. It all just went wrong. So all these months that those flames have been open and burning. Is it something you would want to turn off and just close that area off for now, or are you going to leave them on?
I'm going to assume that I feel like something's going to happen if I turn off. You know what? I'm going to go with the assumption that my father probably thought that he was going to be back soon, so that's why he left them on. So I'm going to turn them off.
Okay.
And just reset everything.
No problem. That kid's all taken care of. So we'll go to the next day. Ladies, Catherine, I'm sure for you, matter of fact, Catherine, everybody make me a luck roll at this point, please.
That is a 14. That makes it.
I got a regular success.
Regular success.
Yeah, all of you made your luck roll. That means nobody had nightmares for tonight. Everybody kind of made it through with even the weirdness that happened. Everyone was able to kind of navigate that in their dream state, or at least not remember what they saw. All right, so the next day, are we all staying together through this? Are we all going to the Cobalt Club in the same car? What's the overall plan?
Maybe we should stay together, unless Catherine wants to go to the club by herself.
Catherine and I are not speaking, so...
Oh, that's great.
Why are you not speaking?
She's upset with me, so I figured we weren't talking.
You're not wrong.
Exactly.
No, I mean, they can come to the club with me. I mean, there's stuff that they won't be able to have access to, but, I'm sure that they could sit somewhere.
They're a guest of yours. They would be treated as a guest. They'd be allowed to go get drinks. They'd be allowed to have luncheon.
Yeah.
They just can't go to, into the upper fringes of the club, but that's okay. They'd still be allowed to, they're not treated like peasants. They're just,
It might also be telling if I go and they see, who I am, and maybe that'll give us an inkling on what have you.
Interesting. All right.
So you go to the club, and who are you looking to speak to?
My girl Agnes. Come on.
Okay. You don't remember Aveline, who she used to talk to? Did that ever come up?
No.
Maybe not? Okay. So you wouldn't have known the names then. All right.
I genuinely don't remember. I only know Agnes.
Okay. Aveline had a different name. So did John Schooley, but that's okay.
Mr. Beddoes? Was that? No, that was England.
That was England. No, Kent Allard.
Schnoodle. I wouldn't remember that.
We don't know that. Make an intel roll.
I could always just...
Oh, wait. Education is no. Intel is idea. You need an education roll.
Okay. That's a 009 hard probably critical success.
Doesn't matter if it's a hard or not. It's as long as it's a hard, it's not a problem. So, yes, you remember the name Allard. You get there around 10 a.m. Agnes does, greet you. The club secretary does greet you. She kind of walks you through the fact that they have medical supplies for you. They also...
some shopping, good stuff.
They brought some outfits that they thought would be, they took your size. They had a personal shopper go out and pick up some items for you and so on. Your friends are greeted as well. They bring some champers or mimosas or whatever would be appropriate at 10 a.m. And you remember the name Allard. And she says, actually, Mr. Allard is in. I could see if he would be able to speak to you real quick, Miss Ross, if you'd like.
That would be very nice. Thank you.
Ladies, are you continually tired, even after a good night's sleep? Do you feel run down in the middle of the afternoon? Does the thought of your children returning from school fill you with dread and visions of Dante's Inferno? Have you found the ring of your husband's desk-side bell alerting you to his every need now grates on your every nerve? Help is on the way. The answer is convenient, at your local supermarket, and just waiting to relieve your tensions. Phosphorine wine. That's right. With ample and continual application of this tasty medicinal beverage, fatigue, depression, and general dissatisfaction will be replaced with zip, zing, and energy that lasts throughout the day. Simply start each morning with a glass of phosphorine wine, a glass with lunch, mid-afternoon, with your evening meal, liberal applications when with family, and watch your cares evaporate in a haze of wellness and good cheer. Here's what Mrs. D. Walbash of Putrid, Ontario had to say about phosphorine wine.
I've never felt so alive. It's the damnedest thing. It even makes being a homemaker bearable again. Who needs personal interests or a career when you can cradle this gallon-sized bottle of perfection all day long?
And this testimonial from Mr. C.C. Simmons of Scungy, Wyoming. Ever since I purchased phosphorine wine for my wife, she's been an absolute gem around the house. Doesn't even complain or go mad when I go to poker with the guys several times a week. To top it off, our 9-year-old Missy has now become the best under-12 cook in all of Kennet County. Thanks, Phosphorine Wine, for giving me my life back. Seem too incredible to be believed? It's not. You too can become a liquid squid and enjoy every day with Phosphorine Wine. Phosphorine wine is 45% alcohol by volume, is highly addictive and habit-forming, filled with vitamins and minerals, and an excellent source of cocaine. Look for Phosphorine Wine in all your best supermarkets, liquor stores, bodegas, and corner shops. Phosphorine Wine, Mommy's new little helper.
Sure enough, Mr. Allard does take about 15 minutes, but they do bring you up to a really beautiful waiting room. His waiting room is probably better accrued and worth more money in leather and fine goods and rare books than most people's homes. At this time, that room alone is probably 30 by 20 in the waiting room, and it is absolutely sickening that people have this level of wealth while other people around the world are just trying to get a can of beans and, eat that with some sort of zest and gusto. This guy, the Cobalt Club in general is uber wealthy, but Allard's money is up there with God's. So
Right.
It's the Pope than Allard. So that kind of thing.
Right.
After about another 5 or 6 minutes, 2 double doors open and a very handsome man in his mid-30s steps out. His tuxedo is painted on. His jacket and stuff are just painted on.
And I'm not
I don't know if
allowed
it's
to
a
meet
tux.
him. Damn it!
You're up. The 3 of you are there. I mean,
I thought we weren't
would have
allowed
let-
up in the. I thought we weren't allowed up with her.
You're not allowed into the private parts of the club, but if you're trying to meet Mr. Allard and you're her friends, they would have allowed you and Mel up with them. That's fine. You just wouldn't be able to go into like the gun room, to the armory, and you're not allowed to check out a car. But certain club perks. But to talk to Mr. Allard, if Catherine said, I'm a member, but my friends also have business with him, that wouldn't be a problem.
Cool.
So yes, you're there. What, Catherine?
I'm wondering if I would have brought them up.
Well, I thought the whole idea was to find out about Faye.
I could report back for the sake of narrative flow, but I regret bringing Ella. She's going to be weird.
Thanks.
Well, Kayla, you said full.
You said full
freak
throttle. You said full throttle freak, and now I'm bringing you into Mr. Fancy Pants' office, and we need to be chill.
Let's just get this show on the road. You'll see what I'll do.
I don't want to know. Moving on.
He's in like I don't want to say a morning suit, but it's as close to a day tux as you could get. I mean, he's just immaculately dressed. Beautiful rings, diamonds on the ring on the one hand, pinky ring. He's got the Omega watch of its time. It's beyond Patek Philippe at the era, whatever it is. It's Swiss movement. It's just gorgeous. And he steps out and he says, "Miss Ross."
Yes, Mr. Allard, thank you so much for seeing me. I understand that this was, short notice. I just dropped in, but thank you. These are my companions. This is Miss Ella Walcott and Miss Dawson.
Dawson.
Mm-hmm.
A pleasure. He takes your hand, bows to it, doesn't kiss it, just leans to it the way you're supposed to. You're not actually supposed to press your lips on someone's hand. That's a fallacy. But you're supposed to bend at the waist and put your face near it. He does that for you and Ella. And also you, Catherine. And he says, "Please, ladies, have a seat. Can I get you something?"
We've been incredibly well supplied. So generous. Tea would be great if you had a pot lying around. It's a beautiful office, by the way.
Oh, my office is back there. This is just where I like to entertain.
Oh, how silly of me.
Allow me to get something for you. So he pulls on a string. Door opens up. He says, "Pot of tea." I sense a slight English tone to your American accent. So I'm assuming Earl Grey would be okay.
Perfect. That's
excellent.
Great.
So you're all able to sit down in one piece of leather furniture. Another, he has a high-rise wingback chair. He sits in that, crosses his legs in the more formal fashion, the longer pose, not the leg all the way up like, more of, the aristocracy, leg cross. And he sits there and he says, so first of all, I'd like to welcome you to the club. I was told by our club secretary that you were able to join based on a bequeathment from a member of ours. So while I'm very sad that had to happen and the circumstances behind it, I would like to extend a welcome to you, though.
Thank you. And that bequeathment is kind of the reason why we're here today. Your name came up a couple of times when not just one companion of ours, but two were members of the club, and said that they knew you and that you were the person to come to when in this area of the world looking for information. And so upon the death of our friend and the departure, I guess you could say departure, ladies, of the other one, we had a couple of questions, a couple of loose ends, and we're hoping that you could answer them, maybe.
Do what I can.
Of course. I mean,
I hope you understand that whatever I tell you is in the strictest confidence, and if it does betray the confidence of another member or put them in danger, I would be my rights to withhold that information. I don't feel comfortable. Sometimes we have irons in the fire in many different areas, and I may not be at liberty to share all of it with you.
Understood. Completely.
Well then, please, I'm all yours. How can I help you?
So, essentially, there was Aveline, our companion, who bequeathed me this membership. I've already said that. Catherine doesn't know how to, this. She's just trying her best to, muddle through this incredibly, she's still getting used to being a member of this club. It doesn't feel real. It's what is my life? This is as weird to me as, a squid baby in a vision. This is also bizarre. So, Aveline, friend, mentioned that she was sent to meet Miss Dawson because someone was looking out for Miss Dawson and was sent to protect her, and by someone we thought that meant the club, and we were wondering why?
Well, because we really weren't very comfortable with your uncle.
Beg pardon?
You are related to Aloysius Banks.
Uh-huh. It's my mother's brother.
The museum had been suffering for some time.
Mm-hmm.
And then a large influx of cash began to come in. And several of our members in our London chapter had cocktails with a few gentlemen that were willing to become large donators to the club and to the museum. And several of those names we knew had quite a strong criminal background.
Right.
And when we heard that your uncle was going to assign a young woman, Miss Dawson, to head up his dig in Cairo, after meeting with these gentlemen, struck us as a little bit odd, knowing your uncle's proclivity to thinking more of a male-dominated roles should be done by men. I'm sure you've run into some of that with him. He's an older sort.
Yes.
So a little odd, maybe, that he had put or asked a woman to be in charge of such a situation. So it piqued our interest. I myself made the call to ask Mr. Schooley, John, as he traveled with you, I believe, to look in on this. And should situation get a little bit more heated, I also dispatched Aveline, who was a member of our club, and who we shared information. And I asked her if she wouldn't mind being added to the guest list, and just to keep an eye on things in case those criminal elements were to make a move either at that time or approach her in any such way. Our fear really was that your uncle was getting involved in a smuggling ring.
That's crazy. He's just an old high society Brit who was taking, money. I don't think he would ever. That's.
I'm not saying that he would have willingly done it, but with the people he was putting in place and with the assets and the type of people he was dealing with, our members had asked me to look into it.
Right.
Were they hoping to smuggle things out of Miss Dawson's dig were she to remain on the project? Was that ever talked about?
Well, I feel that if things had gone missing, it would have been a lot easier to explain to Mr. Banks because of his sexism that the young lady may have just misplaced them. We had a feeling that they were going to attempt to use Miss Dawson as a cover to sort of, well, if men were running the operation behind your back, moving things around, it was your first dig, things were exchanged, things were misplaced. I mean, we know for a fact that Howard Carter's own dig himself. There were objects turning up that he was supposed to have cataloged that never made their way all the way back to England, and that they were found several years later in certain members' homes. Things just occasionally go missing. And I believe that the gentlemen that were involved, one of them with connections to a fairly dark occult society that resides in Germany. I just think that when our members heard this and they were worried about their investments both in the museum and in our club, and then we had brought these men in as some of these others as members, they just wanted to make sure we were doing the right thing.
Fool Society, involved with my uncle, money.
Again, by no means am I saying he was directly involved.
I'm going to say a name, and if you can just nod, that's it. You don't have to nod, but if you can tell me this information. Somebody by the name of Marston, perhaps?
Mr. Marston and his family's money has been involved in quite a bit of rumblings around the art world.
Yes.
In the last year or two.
His actions are quite concerning to me personally as well. So I understand. Thank you.
And then after Aveline reported what happened in the bookstore at the after party, and then, with Mr. Reese, it just made sense to try to follow the line.
Was she reporting back to you? Like as recently as, oh God, when were we in Nepal the first time?
Months ago.
Mid-October.
Has she been reporting? Was she reporting back? And did they suddenly stop around mid-October?
Yes. Both Mr. Schooley and Aveline both went dark. But subsequently, since then, I've had a message from John. It was very disturbing.
What did he say? Oh, I'm sorry. I know it's not my place.
Miss Dawson, if I could understand what he said, it wouldn't be as disturbing. It didn't make a lot of sense.
Tell me.
He rambled on about an ogre, about how that they had made a terrible mistake, that the original Miss Ross, Mr. Poulter, when they ascended into Rupkund, that something had gone terribly wrong, and that he had actually given the Fool Society the power that they may have never been able to channel or properly control before he upped the game, that he himself had given them the means to do terrible destruction. But as I tried to calm him down, he just terminated the call, and I have not heard from him since.
You don't by chance record those calls, do you?
I try not to record our members unless I advise them of it, and I was not expecting a call from John. It had been weeks that I hadn't heard from him. So when the call was finally put through, I have to admit I was off guard. I did not have time to tape it, no.
And when was the call again? I'm sorry.
From John? Early December?
Talked about an ogre.
Maybe he means the thing up on the mountain. Maybe it's a metaphor. I don't know.
He didn't make it sound like a metaphor.
Right.
It didn't. He kept saying ogre. Actually, maybe he said he used another form of it, which is ogru, ogrus. He just it was gibberish almost. But I've known John for 2.5 years. I've met him several times. Normally, very well put together, very articulate.
Yeah, almost too much.
To have him nonsensical was, well, it definitely put me off. I felt his distress. Oh, here's our tea. Tea comes in. They put it down. Lemon, sugar, milk, whatever you want. I mean, Earl Grey, it should be lemon, but
yeah,
they bring milk because the Americans like to cream and cheese everything. So just in case.
Philistines.
I'm kind of hung up on the fact that Aveline and John were reporting back to, this organization, which at least the German branch of it was Bad News Bears, all of our intel. So we're being all, like, we're trying to be like all shifty, like trying to be like find information out on the down low, but they already know everything.
Well, I mean, it makes sense because, they're part of this whole organization, and that organization was providing transport and other things for us. I mean, it's...
Does that mean they know the location of all the items?
Are you saying this out loud?
No.
Oh, well.
Better be fair. It was Catherine's voice. I'm like, are you saying this out loud?
Catherine's voice is my voice, just slightly lower in pitch. Lauren is wondering this, but I can't just ask the man, hey, where are the magic items? In a box somewhere? I can't just say that. So...
No.
And I don't like the fact that a, powerful group of people would have access to them, potentially. Because that's the whole point of what we're trying to avoid. This kind of freaked me out. I was just gonna use this membership to get, like, fancy booze and like, pantsuits. I wasn't gonna, like...
Pantsuits.
I don't know, like, Chanel. Like, Hermes.
Which you have.
Like, I want an Hermes medical bag. I'm not looking to, My uncle is being watched by, like, a James Bond-style rich man cult organization. This is bad news.
Your uncle might be doing some shifty things.
Oh, geez. Wasn't that on the sign?
Yeah.
Didn't Stooley park that somewhere?
Holy biscuit. I'm looking back at the picture.
Remember, it might not be, all him because Marston controls. Banks said it himself. He was like, he kind of felt compelled to do this once Marston, like, fire me and hire this other person.
Thank you, Faye.
And again, when they got wind of the fact that Faye was being watched or taken care of and helped, they changed gears. They shifted. And that's when, and also because Catherine got involved. But I believe there's something on the wall in the photo that says Aloysius Banks. There's a comment about him.
I'm trying to find the specific thing about Banks in the photo.
Let me get you over to the photo. Before
we're going to see the photo? Yay.
I can bring it up. There we go.
Photo.
Let's see.
Unless you're driving, dear listener, take this time to pull up the photo and experience it with us. You can find the photo in the Cthulhu in Cairo Facebook group.
Marston will dream again.
Mueller is an ogre! He's an Mueller!
Mueller is an ogre. Oh, no.
He's talking about Mueller.
But what does that mean?
It's bad news. I think Mueller being an ogre has something to do with the fact that he won't die. And that we keep trying to kill him and he just won't go.
Ogres have layers.
Shrek reference! Now is not the time!
We do not own any of the rights to the Shrek verse. That is a completely DreamWorks production.
The definition of ogre is a man-eating giant, so, or a cruel and terrifying person.
He is all of those things. Hey, Keeper, can we get the Banks text?
Yeah, it said, the one about Banks, if I remember correctly, without going all the way through my notes, was something like, you're guilty, Mr. Banks, or it's something like that. It references the fact that John was onto or was asked to check in on it, and he had put this on this wall.
Right.
But it was about Banks Banks was somehow involved.
Fair enough.
All right, so Mueller is an ogre. There it is.
A magi, a devil, and a saint.
He's all of the above, kids.
I think he's a dirty bastard, but that's just me.
Faye just writes on the wall with John.
I'm like, hold on, you left something out.
A devil, a saint, and a dirty bastard. And he smells too.
And he sucks.
There you go.
So
does anybody have any last minute questions for Mr. Allard before we shift this one into a
You mean Ken Barbie doll in 1930? Yeah. Is he single?
Yes.
Yes.
Does he need a wife?
I'd like to be a kept woman after all this.
The way he looks? No.
God damn it.
Hey, friend.
All right, let me put it to you like this. Let me put it like this. As tall as, let's say, Henry Cavill, cut underneath the tuxedo like Hugh Jackman.
Oh my god.
Oh
A
my God.
Dorito.
With a face more like an older trim, an older, like, life-made Timothy Chalamet.
I knew you were going to say Chalamet.
I knew you were going to say Chalamet. No.
Not
my
Shamalama Ding Dong.
Faye's about to propose. No, kidding.
Ella's like, would you like to have your fortune told?
The general idea is that, he turns down. If he were alive today, I'm not sure Jared Leto would be the face of Gucci. I think it would be this man. Like, he's that pretty.
Love of my life.
Damn.
Wow.
Love of my life, you've heard me.
Exactly.
Thank you for singing on camera.
I'll still propose.
Look, and the point is, like, we all want this man, but we all know we all can't have this man, so it's time for a duel.
What?
Well, she's got her sword. She's trying to break her sword out. She just wants her shot.
Listen,
I have my ritual sword, baby.
Oh my god.
Out of everyone here, I arguably,
Don't be a bitch.
I'm the most wife material. Okay.
You have a girlfriend back in London, woman. Shut
You're a
up.
full ass lesbian, Catherine.
Get out of here.
We can be each other's beards. We can have a common law marriage.
No, you cannot just take him and not use him.
That's terrible. See, and that kind of objectification is not going to win you this man.
Lauren,
Yeah.
he's from the 1930s,
Yeah.
and he's a dude. He's a
Yeah.
dude. Objectify him. He doesn't care.
Lauren, what's the thing? It's like, no, you're you're looking respectfully. I'm objectifying him to filth. We are not the same.
Right. This is a man who, if women leer at him, and he really doesn't care. He's like, yeah, okay.
Listen.
Yeah.
We have devolved. We need to bring this back around.
We need to bring this back in. What I'm about to do is going to seem so small after this. I have one last piece of business and we can round out the episode maybe.
Yeah, we're going to have to. So
Cool.
go ahead. What is it?
Great. So I'm going to leave, Googly Eyes 1 and Googly Eyes 2 upstairs with Kent.
Thing 1 and thing 2. Right?
Yeah, I'm going to leave him upstairs. I'm going to sneak downstairs to go talk to Agnes.
Throw on the Chanel outfit, but go ahead.
Yeah, pick up my Chanel, pick up my fancy med supplies, and I'd like her to post a letter for me. I'd like her to send it. If you'd like me to read the letter for the benefit of the listeners, I will, but I'd like to post a letter to my father's med office.
Okay, so it would definitely come up another time. Let's just go ahead and read it.
Sure.
As you write it, I would read it.
Catherine sends a letter, the first one that she's written in probably 10 years. Hello, Dad. I hope you're okay. Been doing a lot of thinking lately and wanted to apologize for the pain I caused by leaving how I did. I'm sure you both did the best you could. The years have taught me a lot, and I've come a long way. We used to talk about what you wanted me to be, and I did it. Medicine. Helping people, trying to do some good. A recent experience made me realize that my childhood and the family weren't the gothic novel I always thought they were. Again, you did the best you could. I've thought about reaching out before this, but never found the right reason or time. That is entirely my fault. I hope you're all right, and that the years were more kind than I was. The world is a frightening place, and there's so much we don't understand. Please, whatever happens, whatever you read in the news, please be safe. I love you and think of you often. Katie.
And you're posting that to him from here?
I wasn't going to put an address, but I was going to have a Cobalt Club courier drop it off.
Oh, all right. That can be done. You're a private member. You're an actual member. So yeah, they would, if you needed it to be taken by a messaging service or whatever. Yeah. All right. That's done. It's on its way. But you're leaving no forwarding number, no address, nothing. You're just basically doing a one-way letter. They have a way of finding you.
Cobalt Club, if needed.
No.
What?
No, they would call Aloysius. They would reach out to Banks.
Who?
That'd be their first thought.
They haven't. I'm 35.
Doesn't matter.
It's been 20 years.
It's been 20 years since you wrote almost, but you did. So if you wrote, they'd reach out to Banks.
Okay.
They would try to find you in England. Yeah. So if they want, they still have a recourse on how to find you.
Okay.
I mean, if Banks isn't arrested and in jail by then. All right. So anyway.
No. my cash flow.
I do say these handcuffs are chafing.
I was about to say, those from jail phone calls are going to be hysterical.
Could you imagine?
Catherine!
Catherine, I've been made a wife. What does that mean?
PG-13, people. PG-13.
All right. Well, from all of us, I guess we'll wrap it up there for tonight. No cliffhangers. I tried to make this an absolutely cliffhanger-free 2 episodes because all I get is crap for making cliffhangers. So I hope you're all good with the downtime.
You didn't even use your catchphrase.
I know. It's just one of those things. But from all of us here at the Bardic College, I want to say thank you for the ladies for this episode. We're going to be getting ourselves back together, pulling the team back towards London. Once Fathom's messages get out, I think, in his telegraph, and he reaches out to the Cobalt Club, we'll figure out that he's heading for London. And that's probably where Jack will probably end up meeting us as well. We'll make that decision off air and set that up. But until next time, thank you all so very much. Like, share, subscribe. Girls, good job tonight. And guess that's everything. And if you haven't gotten to the Patreon yet and checked it out, do so. For less than a cup of coffee a day, not even, it's $5 a month. You get to listen to Operation Poltergeist. I mean, that's a cup of coffee in 30 days. That's really, really cheap. So check it out because it's a show that we have because it's behind the firewall, we can do so much more with it. We can be a lot more crazy and dark and play with all those horror things that sometimes here we, believe it or not, we edit out because we do have a soul. We'll talk to you next time. Thanks for listening, everybody. Good night.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Cthulhu in Cairo. You can like, share, and subscribe to us wherever you get your podcasts. The music you're listening to is Return of the Mummy by the great Kevin MacLeod. Join us next time to see where our intrepid explorers find themselves next.